Democrats won big in 2020, taking back the White House and both chambers of Congress. While their victory was certainly a cause for celebration, it now seems that may be short-lived. Republicans are licking their chops, hungry and eager to take back the power that they lost. The 2022 midterms are on the table, and, well, the GOP just might eat the whole feast. Employing creative and unfair map drawing tactics, constitutional or not, Republican legislatures across the country are hard at work drawing and redrawing congressional maps that give them a clear advantage in next year's elections. Georgia and North Carolina are two states among many that have managed to not just sketch, but approve maps that fall short of guaranteeing political and racial representation. Here to look closer at what's happening at two states in the South is Michael Lee, Senior Counsel at the Brennan Center's Democracy Program. Michael, so great to have you with us on Amplified tonight. First, just give us an overview of what we're seeing go down right now in state legislatures all across the country with regards to redistricting and how this could shape politics literally for the next decade.
Yeah, that's a great question because, we draw maps every 10 years after the census, and the purpose is to make sure that districts are equally populated, that they comply with voting rights laws and the like, and that's at least what's supposed to happen. But the reality is, when you have one party in control of the process, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, there is a tendency to engage in mischief. And, that certainly is the case in Republican-controlled states in the South that have grown hugely, with almost all of the growth provided by people of color, if not all of the growth, in states like Georgia, Texas, North Carolina. And what they're doing is they're really entrenching the seats that they have. And just I should mention that they start off with an unfair number of seats. In Texas, for example, Democrats win about half the vote. They only get about 36 or 37% of the seats. And what Republicans have done in map drawing is try to lock that in. And the way that they have done that, the way that they're locking that in is they're targeting communities of color. Texas's population growth last decade was 95% people of color. In Georgia, it was 100% people of color. And yet there are no new opportunities being created for people of color in those states. It's as though the few people who provided the growth.
Could you just back up and explain how is that? So I don't want to gloss over this. When you say that Democrats, for example, win, maybe 50, 55% of, just in terms of the actual voters who turn out, right? They technically win. Mm-hmm. If they had the districts that made sense, there would be representation that reflected at least the half. 50% would be Democrats, 50% Republican. But what you're saying is that they've been able to hold the line where Republicans are holding Democrats to only 30-something%. I don't understand how that happens. So could you just explain how that is that we just don't have representation?
Well, it's because of how you artfully draw the lines, right? And in the South, the way that you achieve a gerrymander is you target communities of color, right? Because there still aren't that many white Democrats in the South. In states like Georgia and Texas, Democrats only get about 28% of the white vote. And the problem, if you're a map drawer with white voters, is that they tend to live white Democratic voters, is they tend to live really close to white Republican voters in the same neighborhoods and sometimes in the same houses. So it's really hard to draw lines unless you're drawing a line down somebody's bed to target just white Democrats. But because of residential segregation, it's easy to pack together or break apart communities of color in order to make a district more or less Democratic. Democrats are overwhelmingly people of color in the South. And so really what you do is you just sort of break apart communities of color. And so I'll give you a prime example. There's a large block of Latinos in suburban Dallas who were in an urban district, and they got taken from that urban district and put into a rural district. They're joined with a bunch of rural white voters south of Dallas, and that's how you do these sorts of gerrymanders. And you see similar things in North Carolina and in Georgia. And it bears stressing. Gerrymandering comes at the expense of communities of color. Yeah.
So let's talk about North Carolina. Just this week, the General Assembly there approved a congressional map after 11 proposals. And surprise, surprise, they chose the most Republican skewed one. How will this new map change the political terrain there? And I'm thinking about North Carolina because I remember Obama won North Carolina at one point. We ended up with a Democrat in the governorship there. There would look like North Carolina was actually shifting like Virginia did, and then North Carolina went backwards. So, yes, if you could just share with us what's going to happen now with the political landscape there.
Yeah, so the map right now in North Carolina has 8 Republican seats and 5 Democratic seats. North Carolina picked up a seat in reapportionment, so it now has 14 seats. But the new map has 10 safe Republican seats, 3 Democratic seats, and 1 seat that's sort of competitive. And that competitive seat, in a good Republican year, could easily be a Republican seat. So you could end up with a map that's 11 Republicans, 3 Democrats, and a state that is 50-50, where Democrats do win statewide. Like Roy Cooper is governor of North Carolina, a Democrat. And, yet, you have an 11-3 map, which is about 20-something% of the delegation. And that is just absolutely remarkable. But, what is remarkable also is that they targeted the one of 2 Black members of the North Carolina congressional delegation. A third of the Black members of the North Carolina State Senate are either gone or very vulnerable. A fifth of the Black members of the North Carolina State House are gone or very vulnerable. And that is, that's like hugely, the racial impact is unbelievable.
Wow. So Black and brown people are ultimately going to be left without representation at all, even though they're growing majority and rising demographics in that state. Yeah. Lawsuits in North Carolina have been filed to stop these maps from coming to fruition. So on what grounds are they being challenged, and what's the likelihood that that will succeed?
Well, the good news is in North Carolina, the state courts have proven willing to come in and help police both racial gerrymandering and political gerrymandering. And so there is a good path for fighting these in state court. That's not the case in Georgia. It's not the case in Texas or elsewhere in the South. But at least in North Carolina, you do have good courts for now. The North Carolina Supreme Court has 4 Republicans and 3 Democrats, and 2 Democrats happen to be up in November 2022. So by the time these cases get there, it is possible that you could have a Republican majority on the state Supreme Court. But right now, at least, the state law is good, and the state courts have proven willing to step in and fight this. But it's certainly an uphill battle elsewhere in the South.
Yeah. Speaking of which, elsewhere, Georgia, another state that rubber stamped district maps this week. And what's interesting there is that Georgia now we know is a battleground state. The last election, 50-50 split. So why is it that the new maps don't reflect this, that we all watched it all play out with our very eyes? What's really going on here?
Well, I think, Republicans, Georgia is a little bit different than North Carolina because, Republicans, for the most part, aren't going out and aggressively grabbing a whole bunch of more seats, but they are shoring up the seats that they have, because I think they're scared of the changing demographics of Georgia, right? Particularly the suburbs, across the country, half of all people of color in the metro areas now live in the suburbs, not in the cities. And the suburbs are becoming really diverse. Gwinnett County, where Newt Gingrich was from, was 90% white in the 1990s when he represented it. It's 35% white now. And, you've seen multiracial coalitions come together to elect a Black sheriff, to elect all kinds of officials. And, that is dangerous to Republicans. And what they've done is they've tried to, divide up, to draw districts further out and do things like that in order to maximize their seat share and lock it in really for the decade. So this is not about 2022 only. It's about what maps will look like in 2024, 2026, 2028, and whether Democrats ever have a shot at winning a majority, right? And whether people of color ever get to be at the table when really important decisions are being made, because they're really just trying to kick the can down the road with these gerrymandered maps.
Michael Lee, Senior Counsel at the Brennan Center's Democracy Program. Thank you so much for setting this record straight. I don't care what anybody says. All of this always comes down to race and fear over the shifting demographics because white people don't want to lose their power. And that is, at the end of the day, what this is all about. Thank you so much for talking to us about this tonight.